I had that whole gag in the first Game Roulette Awards of how I was like, oh, I need to find a hat that's like more formal than this. And I had, the pink cat ears hat, and like, you know, I should have come up with something like a little more serious than that. So I do have another hat. So since game number 1 is going to be Costume Quest, game number 2 is gonna be called The Lost Art of Innkeeping. I'm not wearing a pink cat-eared hat anymore. It's a gray and brown cat-eared hat. It clearly shows the weight of the occasion a lot better. But okay, so the plan for tonight is I'm going to give the awards for all of these games that I played and spend a little time after the awards talking about the ones that didn't quite win anything, but maybe they were still remarkable in their own way. Or maybe not. So let's roll up into the first category here. And you might be aware that I recycled the text document that I used the first time and kept the same award names. Game I think you should buy. It's not centered. It's not like center oriented. Hold on. I don't know if I can do that, but that's fine. That's fine. If you happen to catch the first Game Roulette Awards, this is akin to like your best picture. And as I said last time, a more legitimate awards show might save that for the end. But no, what I'm saving for the end is the actual new Game Roulette that I'm going to do. So we're going to start with like the biggest award and then work our way down to the games that don't really get awards. So the way it worked last time and the way it's going to work this time is I'm not going to, tell you all of the nominees and then be like, and the winner is so-and-so. I'm just going to tell you all the runner-ups first and then tell you like the absolute highest recommendation. Although everything that's in this category is a winner. Everything here is something that's really good and that is worth your time and money. Where is the first one? Here we go. I was like, oh, there it goes. Yeah, look at that. This one is Into the Breach. So yeah, this one was really good. You might remember it as a game by the developers of FTL. And it's really good. It's like a very just like miniature tactics game. It's the kind of game where like every single turn you take matters. And it's, this strategic premise where you are controlling like a few pilots in a few high-tech military vehicles trying to fight aliens and minimize the civilian casualties. It's very strategic, very tough in my experience, but it has a lot of depth to it, a lot of unlockables, and although this was not one that I played further after the streams, that's going to be a thing of its own category, it's still very much worth people's money. So it gets a little place of honor down there. I'm going to leave that in there to keep on playing. Runner-up number 2. Honestly, like, I'm sure everybody has heard of this game. It needs no introduction. But just in case, there it is. It's Celeste. Like I said, I know this one got a ton of buzz when it came out. Everybody was talking about it, and everybody played it, except for me at the time. But, once I got it in a free giveaway, I finally gave it a try in the Game Roulette, and I had a lot more fun with it than I expected to. It seemed, in a similar vein to, like, your Super Meat Boy type of games, and so I thought it was going to be, like, this really annoyingly challenging, like, hard for the sake of hard platformer, but in the short time that I spent with it, it introduced some interesting mechanics. Like, you can see this level playing right now, where clones of yourself will follow you and mimic every action that you take, and if one of them touches you, you die. And that was really cool. It made me think that, wow, this game probably has a lot more interesting things to offer down the line. So that one's very much worth also. Oh, and I forgot to mention the, MSRPs of these. Into the Breach is normally $14.99. Celeste is normally $19.99, and like I said, I got it in a free giveaway. I still, recommend waiting for sales for these games, but I recommend waiting for a sale for every game. So that's not anything special. It's not that these games are not worth it. And there's another one that I forgot to tell to Loop. It got to the end of its video. There it is. Celeste, game number 2. But the next one is Cook Serve Delicious 2. This one was really cool. I know there's a Cook Serve Delicious 3 out, and playing this one made me want to try the third one. I have not bought it yet, but I might get around to it one of these days. It's, honestly, I've always wanted to play, a really interesting cooking simulator game. This one is more like a, restaurant rush simulator, though, and what it ends up being is not so much, a challenge of, the difficult nuances of cooking, as it is, memorizing hotkeys and trying to press them as quickly as you possibly can without screwing up somebody's order. And it's super hectic, but just, really satisfying once you get into the rhythm of it and, get moving at a really high speed and just, firing off all of your tasks. So, even though it doesn't really feel like you're simulating cooking in this game, it's just, really fun. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a, WarioWare or Mario Party minigame that's just a lot more fleshed out, has a lot more mechanics, and, really, sucks you in. It's hypnotic once you really get into the groove on this one. The normal price on that one is $12.99, but I know it goes on sale all the time for, super cheap. But that is absolutely something worth checking out, and I'm sure the third game is equally worth checking out. Game number 4 that I think is worth your money. This one is Talomere. This one I don't think I had really heard of before I played on the Game Roulettes, and it was really cool. It's this, a roguelite platformer, dungeon crawler type of thing, but had pretty fun combat. It had, really entertaining, gore effects. Enemies will just, explode when you kill them, basically. Some surprising weapons, like a flamethrower and a rocket launcher, and all kinds of, challenge modes and unlockables and stuff like that to play with. So I could see getting a whole lot of time out of a game like this. And this one is at the best price out of the bunch. This one, on a normal day, is only $3.99. For that price, that one's, especially worth it. This is, out of this group, this is probably the one that is, most worth the price. Best dollar value, probably. But absolutely worth checking out if you're into that kind of game. Anyway, the game that I am declaring the winner of this category, really just the top achiever in this category, because they're all winners, is... I promise I'm not just building tension here. Scuffed stream, what does that mean? I'm not trying to just build tension. This is me trying to locate the files to display them on screen. But yeah, the top winner is Steam World Heist. That is my number one choice. I played Steam World Dig in a past stream. But this one was, a completely different genre. It's like a 2D XCOM style game, a turn-based tactical strategy game, which was really cool. I enjoyed this quite a bit. I want to go back to it personally, on my own time. and play a lot more of it, because like the 2D side-scroller format works surprisingly well for an XCOM-esque game. It's very cool. Good artwork in this one and everything. Has, you know, some humor to it, which is sometimes good, but overall, this is probably the game I enjoyed the most, I would say. So I'm gonna call that the winner. Oh, I've been forgetting to do the applause for these. So okay, let's hear it for all of these. Let's hear it for everybody in the highest recommendation category. Aren't they great? They're all winners, like I said. They're all amazing. You should go buy all of them. Alright, now let's get them off of here. And we're going to move on to another category. This one is a category which is going to be pretty well exclusive to, you know, a game roulette type of setting. It's the best single-sitting game. Pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes I get a game on the Game Roulette streams where I can play the whole thing start to finish and get a complete experience out of it, and I thought I should highlight those. I'm probably going to be listing every single sitting game that I played, like, you know, good or bad, but the winner in this category will just be the one that was my favorite. So let me find the first one here. So the first one is going to come with an asterisk. We got Needhog here. That's a Needhog. I say that it has an asterisk because I did not actually finish this one in the Game Roulette sitting, but I did come very close. I think I only had like 1 or 2 enemies left to fight, but it was getting to be time-consuming enough that I didn't know how long it was going to take me, and so I called it quits. But it could very easily be a single-sitting game for somebody else. Excuse me. And not only is it like a good single-sitting game potentially, but it's something I could see playing repeatedly. It's so fast-paced that like 10 seconds feels like an hour. It's like so much happens in such a short span of time that would, you know, normally take such a long time in any other video game. So that one was a blast. Would recommend, would play again. Let's put that down in the corner here. Alright. And then let me load up the next single-sitting game. This one is 20-Minute Metropolis. And it was a pretty unique little gimmick. It's, you know, it has 20-minute in the name, so it's designed to be a game that you play in a short sitting. Very cool premise. You're given this plot of blank land, and you are tasked with building a city, very Sim City-like, and trying to earn the highest score you possibly can in the course of 20 minutes. The only reason I wouldn't rank this one higher, or like recommend it higher, is that it has the same map every time you play it. There isn't like any kind of variation in the maps, there's no random generation, there's no parameters you can set to generate a different map, it's just static, the exact same one every time. So that's, you know, kind of a point against it, but it was still fun for what it was. It was a good single sitting. In a game roulette, I'm always down to have a short game. So there's another runner-up for your consideration. And now, my next one. It was honestly very hard to decide on a winner for this category, so this one is a very close second. It was Hitchhiker. This is the kind of thing that, like, before I did Game Roulette streams, I never would have guessed would be something that I would care about at all, because you actually do very little in this game. Most of it consists of sitting in the passenger seat of a car and listening to this character talk, but it was still a really fun experience because a little plot unfolds, and this character's dialogue is pretty interesting. He comes across as like a really odd character, and also feels genuinely like the type of person who would pick up a random hitchhiker. It unfolded like pretty well. It got a little surreal at the end, a little abstract. Yes, this is still the same game. But yeah, I had a pretty good time with that. It had, almost no interaction. It had a few dialogue choices which probably didn't even impact the outcome of the game. Maybe at all. But I liked it. If it was like a proof of concept for something larger, then I would say keep an eye on this developer, because they have some good potential as shown in this. But my actual winner, and it might even come as a surprise to anybody who was present for this Game Roulette, is going to be 3 out of 10. Yeah, believe it or not. This one, you might also put an asterisk on this one, because this was 3 out of 10, episode 1 out of like 5. And this one is completely free to play. You can download it and play it. No cost. And I assumed for a while that, like, they probably make episode 1 free and then make you pay for the rest of the game. Not even the case. The whole thing is free, every episode. But it was a pretty neat idea. It's basically like an animated sitcom blended with a series of various mini-games. And all of the mini-games are like wildly different. They're completely different genres. See, here is one where it's like a falling block puzzle game. And there's another one that's like a sliding block puzzle. But had a surprising amount of fun with that one. The fact of it being like half animated series along with the gameplay means that like it kind of is by necessity going to have to lean a lot on its writing. And I'm going to be honest, like a lot of the humor didn't land with me. I didn't, I wasn't like appalled or miserable with it, but I was just like, they're making an effort. I acknowledge the humor, but it didn't like make me crack up personally. So, there's always that gamble when you're going to try to lean on humor in anything you make, really. It's going to click with some people and it's not going to click with others. But yes, despite whatever flaws I might have seen in it, I'm still calling that the best single-sitting game. And especially since it's free, you might as well give it a download and give it a try and see if it's right for you. Oh, shit. I forgot about the audience, again. I forgot to, let them have their moment of applause. I've been so rude to them. Let's let them get a little bit of it out of their system. Let's hear it for all of the best single-sitting games. Scuffed for getting applause. It happened again. Yeah. It's kind of funny, the YouTube video where I have that stock applause sound effect, it has hashtags above the title. It says hashtag clap for yourself, hashtag people, hashtag soundscape. It was pretty funny. I like hashtag clap for yourself. Do you think people like load up this YouTube video and listen to the applause and like to imagine that the audience is applauding for them? Fuck, isn't that exactly what I'm doing right now? No. What I'm doing is completely different. They're clapping for the games. They're clapping for the games that I'm presenting. It's not for me. Lord knows I'm not a good host. It couldn't be mine. Next category. This is another kind of self-explanatory one. Played further after the stream was over. Another kind of self-explanatory one. These are games that, for whatever reason, were good enough for me to play more of after I had gone offline and stopped the Game Roulette. The last Game Roulette Awards, there was only one of these, and I didn't even think the game was that great in the end. But this time we have 3. And I'm not going to declare one of these like the winner. I'm just going to declare all of these on equal ground, because I don't want this to be like a judgment call on these games beyond they had something of value that kept me playing more of them. And so, the first one, it's once again Cook Serve Delicious 2. It's already come up in one award category, but yeah, I've played this one a handful of times. I just like to launch it up now and then and play a few rounds. It also has like a lot of unlockable content and a lot of different scenarios and stuff, so there's a ton to get through in the game, which is part of why I say I'm sure the third game is also amazing, just like this. The second game that I played further after ending my stream was Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. This one I kind of loved as soon as I heard the title of it. One of my favorite premises in games is like you're in an extraordinary sci-fi or fantasy setting, but your player character does something really mundane and never goes off on a grand adventure and never plays a major part in the epic story of this world. So I love the concept of being in this like fascinating sci-fi spaceport and all you do is just walk around and pick up trash, basically, and, like, buy the food that you need every day. So, I played a bit of that one, because I got the sense that it would be a pretty short game. I never ended up finishing it, though, mostly because, like, completing the objectives I would have needed to complete depended on a lot of RNG, and I was, getting a little bit tired of it. Still, overall, a pretty good experience. So there's definitely some value in that one. And I've got one more in this category. Let's find that one. This one, honestly, kind of in a similar vein to Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. It was Holy Potatoes, a weapon shop. This is something that had been on my radar for a long time, and I finally got a hold of it and finally got around to playing it on one of these streams. And, it was pretty much what I thought it was going to be. You run a weapon workshop, and you make items and sell items to the actual adventurers. So I thought, it might be something similar to like Recettear, which is a game I love and used to stream a lot in the past. And, it's pretty good. I played more of it to kind of like see more of the mechanics and see what the game has to offer. It turns out it gets very grindy, very fast, gets very repetitive, so I probably wouldn't recommend it as something more than like a game you play when you're doing something else, like you're watching a movie or watching a quality stream of a Game Roulette. I can recommend it in that setting. There goes that one. Oh yeah, Holy Potatoes was another one that had like a sense of humor that didn't land with me very much. But let's forget about that and just give them a hand. Let's hear it for all of the played further after the stream was over winners. About 4 more categories of awards before I just go and talk about the non-winners. So next one is the category Most Pleasant Surprise. There's a lot of games in the Game Roulettes that I don't really look forward to. Games where, like, I've seen their trailer or their promo art and I think, yeah, that's not going to be for me. But I give them a try anyway. And sometimes I end up having a lot more fun than I thought I would. So, let's see what I've got here. The first runner-up is Ape Out. You might have heard of this one, I don't know. I didn't have high hopes for it because I think I had seen that, like, it had pretty lukewarm reviews from people online, but once I ended up playing it, I kind of had a blast with it. It has that top-down perspective, kind of like an old GTA game, but, you know, a little more stylized. It had, you know, really cool drum music that went along with every level and would, like, sync up with the actions you took in the level. It's very difficult, though. It's, like, very easy to get killed, and sometimes the levels would get pretty long. I didn't play 100% of this game, but I felt like I got pretty close. I did get through quite a bit on the stream. That one was great. I loved all of the guerrilla violence, throwing people out of buildings. It was honestly kind of a blast. I loved that one a lot. Only reason I didn't, like, recommend it higher, like, call it one of the games you should definitely buy, was just that it got kind of frustrating at times. That might just be me being bad at video games, but it's definitely worth a look, I think. Still, it's a runner-up in Most Pleasant Surprise. Oh, let's hear it for Ape Out. Let's hear it for that one, yeah. Let's give that one a little love. I need to be giving some attention to every game, not just the winners. My second Most Pleasant Surprise might be a surprise to you, the audience, too. It's Gone Home. Yeah, this is something I didn't at all expect to enjoy. I was like, oh yeah, it's just gonna be a boring walking simulator. You're just gonna, like, go around to this house and listen to the main character narrate their life story, and some really boring stuff happens, and it turns out somebody died, or something like that. And it was a pleasant surprise, not because I was, like, enthralled with the narrative or the mechanics or anything like that, but it was a pleasant surprise because I discovered you could pick up books in this game, and, like, every book you could pick up had an actual ISBN printed on the back. And what I had so much fun with was getting on the internet and Googling what these ISBNs were and figuring out what real-world books they corresponded to. And there were some really weird results sometimes. Some very unexpected stuff came up. I'm just going to leave that in the air as a teaser to get you to go and watch the stream where I did Gone Home, because you will see some buck wild shit come up in that stream. Oh, there's one of them. There's one of the books that I absolutely loved. It was pretty hilarious. But that's just a little teaser for you. That's a thing of mine, like, I always look up ISBNs if I see, like, if I'm watching a movie or playing a game or something, and I see a real-ass ISBN pop up on a book, which is supposed to be a fictional book, I absolutely Google that shit and see what the real book was that the artist took the barcode from. And let's hear it for Gone Home, and let's hear it for ISBNs. So, the winner of Most Pleasant Surprise, which I can wholeheartedly recommend, was Pyre. I wasn't expecting to like this one, um, because, like, I had heard beforehand that it was a CRPG, that it was going to be something kind of in the style of, like, Baldur's Gate, which I've tried to play in the past. I never played them until, like, way after they came out and way after the peak of their popularity, so from my perspective, they feel kind of old-fashioned, and they have a lot of dense mechanics that I have not often had the patience to, like, dig into. I heard that Pyre was going to be a game like that, and it turned out to be something a lot easier to pick up, a lot more interesting. I think I said as I was playing it that it reminded me of the Blitzball minigame from Final Fantasy X, except actually good. The gameplay was actually, like, genuinely fun. It felt like you were playing a little sports game, like a little soccer or basketball-esque thing with these three-person teams, and, like, there's three different types of characters, and they all have their different special moves, different point values and stuff. And all the enemy teams would have different compositions, so no two battles were quite the same. And it's a Supergiant game, so, they've always got fantastic artwork in those. I can never say a single bad thing about that. This is a game that I almost played more of after the stream was over. Not quite, but still, it was good enough that it's my winner of most pleasant surprise. That's the top one. Let's hear it for Pyre and all the rest of our nominees. Right, so moving on to the next category on this one, which is favorite art direction. I should make a footnote. Art in this category does not encompass the soundtrack. That is going to be its own category. So, what have I got here? 4 different nominees. My first nominee, my first runner-up, I'm going to go with something that might be a controversial take. It's the 3rd time I have mentioned this game now. But it's Cook Serve Delicious 2, of course. And this might be a hot take, because you might look at this and be like, what the hell are these characters? They look hideous. It's so weird. But, hear me out. I think the artwork they did for the food in this game is, like, genuinely great. Like, the food looks realistic and, like, actually appealing. This looks like something I would actually want to eat. And, like, in a game like this, that's crucial. Like, you absolutely need the food artwork to look good in order to sell a game like this. And, like, I will not hear you out because I am seeing this art. No, like, look at how, like, realistic that chicken breast looks. That looks like a real-ass chicken breast. Looks like something you could genuinely eat. Those nachos actually look good. Those are some real-ass looking nachos. I would eat those nachos. But, yeah. I've talked about this game plenty already in the other 2 categories, but I just wanted to throw out a little appreciation for their art style also. That one's not even a browser game. That is a retail game. It's a real-ass game you can buy, and it's very good. Let's listen to the audience applause for this game. They love it. They adore Cook Serve Delicious 2 and its brilliant artwork. My next runner-up. Let me find that. Okay. This is another one that I have mentioned before, and I'm gonna mention again. Well, I'm gonna mention it again right now, not after this. But it's Needhog. So, obviously, a very simplistic art style in this one. It's nothing, like, extremely loaded up with the graphical fidelity. It's not super high resolution with a million polygons and whatever. The characters are just solid color silhouettes, but the animations work really well for how simplistic the characters are. And what I also love about it is just the like persistent blood effects in it. Not on this screen, because this screen takes place in the clouds. But like everywhere else, when you're like brutally battling these like endless characters, it's amazing to like see just the blood just piling up. Give it up for Needhog again. Now, my third runner-up. What have I got here? Okay, this is another one where it seems like, you know, kind of obvious. Like, I don't think anybody can really argue with this one. But we're once again bringing in Celeste. It just looks beautiful. Absolutely love the pixel art. I was especially admiring in this game how you can, like, crouch and like look up and down with this character, and like how like squishy the character is, how she'll like pinch and like squash, and it was just like really expressive for a character who is so resolution that you can't even see her face. So that's a winner in my book. Beautiful pixel art, beautiful levels, all around excellent design work. Let's hear it for Celeste. Again. Yes, girl is squishy, 10 out of 10. Perfect. I just realized every single game in the favorite art direction category is a repeat. It's already been in another category. And this is another one that might turn out to be kind of a hot take. But my winner in this category is going to be Ape Out. And look at that, it popped up like directly in the spot I need it to be. Give it up for Ape Out again. This one had my favorite art direction out of all the games, just because, like, again, it's something really minimalistic. A lot of, like, solid single color characters. But I just really liked how it has that extreme top-down perspective. And, you know, this is yet another one with, like, persistent blood effects. I liked how, you know, that effect, how when you died it would show you a squiggly line of everywhere you had run. You know, the giant text popping up was really cool. The enemies just exploding when you throw them was great. It's a visual treat, as they say. So let's hear it for all of our winners in the art direction category. Our next one, it's going to be a weird one. Favorite soundtrack. It's going to be weird because I think the first time I did Game Roulette Awards, I actually like prepared MP3s to play during the stream. And I couldn't actually hear them the first time. This time I found the OSTs on YouTube, and I'm gonna play them and see how that goes. I'm just gonna play like a few seconds of them, because I don't know if any of these developers or musicians might be like litigious and be like, I didn't give you permission to use my soundtrack in a stream. That's kind of the fear in the back of my head. So, first game in the favorite soundtrack category. I'm doing yet another, like, weird hot take. But this one, well, this is, like, the first nominee because this is, like, the most questionable one easily. But it was War Sim. And the thing about this one is I could not actually find the music on YouTube, And I wasn't sure if I would be able to find the point in the game where the music plays again, but I will just encourage you to go watch the stream where I played this one, because there's just one part, like, the game doesn't even have, like, consistent music playing throughout. It just had one scene that really surprised me, where you're in a bar and there's, like, an orc or something playing punk music in the bar, and an actual song, like with full-on lyrics and everything, started playing. I completely didn't expect that to happen. I loved it. I listened to it at least one more time during that stream, and it was unforgettable. Absolutely a highlight of that game. So, I can't play that one for you right now, unfortunately, but let's give that up anyway. I didn't realize before I started this how much I filled my nominee list up with hot takes and weird interpretations, but here is Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor again. This is another one that had situational music. Most of the music throughout the game was just like, yeah, whatever, it's there, you know. But there was like one day when I was playing, like one in-game day, where there's like a festival going on, and you hear, let me see if I can play it. Yeah, I don't know how audible it is. Should be pretty good. Yeah. Just an absolute jam playing on the festival days. And the thing that was really cool about it was you could go around to different groups of people who would be playing like a different number of instruments, and the soundtrack would actually change depending on which instruments were there. So that was really cool. Another like very pleasant surprise in the music category. So, let's hear it for that one. Bit on the quiet side. Okay, I'll play the next one louder. 2 more games in this category. Another one was... Oh shit, it's already loaded in the chamber. I don't even have to look it up. Boom. It's Celeste being mentioned for the 3rd time. Let me load this one up here. Let me do this. Yeah. So this one, somebody in the chat even called it as I was playing it. They were like, this one's going to be a nominee for like best soundtrack when you do the awards again, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, probably. It was really good. Let me skip ahead a little more. Really good. Squishy Girl soundtrack. I mean, who doesn't like squishy girls, okay? Let's hear what the audience has to say about squishy girls. No, but yeah, like, the Celeste soundtrack, you know, it really helped, like, establishing the atmosphere, and, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it was, like, chiptune-y, and, you know, had that cool, like, kind of just desolate sound to it, which was really good. What have I got next? Oh yeah, so the winner in this category, let me pull it up here, was Earth Knight. This was one where, like, as I was playing it, I was like I could not stop talking about the soundtrack. Let me pull that up now. This was another chiptune soundtrack, and I was like, damn, this rules. It sounded so good, it was so intense, and it made me completely forget about all of the frustrating losses I was piling up in the game. You know, I will give you that. It does sound very much like it could be Mega Man or Sonic music. It's very good like that. Let's hear it for all of these winners. Alright, I'm in the last couple of categories here. The next one coming up, favorite story or setting. For all of the good story material that I encountered on here, and sometimes, you know, it wasn't the story, sometimes a game doesn't really have, like, a narrative, but sometimes it has, like, a really nicely realized setting, very, you know, believable or realistic. So I'm giving credit to a few of those. My first runner-up, oh, believe it or not, a Squishy Girl game is not in this category. But this is a repeat winner. It's Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. Yeah. I mentioned already that I love that premise of being just like a mundane, regular person in an extraordinary setting. And this one, you know, really nailed that pretty well. It made you feel like just an insignificant, dick-sucking janitor on this shitty space station. But, you know, still a lot of, like, fantastical, unbelievable sci-fi stuff happening around you. And it's just part of your everyday life as you have to dig in the trash. And honestly, like, be miserable most of the time. So they did a really good job at that. Oh, what did I just move? Hold on. I grabbed the wrong thing. There we go. There we go. Let's hear it one more time for Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor. That one's good. My next one was Pony Island. This one also kind of surprised me. It was one of those things where I was like, oh yeah, I've got this game pegged. I know it's one of those where, like, it starts out looking really innocent and it's hiding something sinister behind its happy facade. And once I got into it, I realized there's no happy facade in this at all. But it turned out to be a pretty cool premise. Like, basically, it was like you, the player, as a character, are sitting at this computer, and it seems to be inhabited by, like, some kind of satanic being, some demonic entity, which is trying to keep you in the game and keep you from breaking free, and you're trying to, like, hack the computer at the same time to, like, free yourself and find ways to break this game. So that was really cool. That was another one that I still might go back to on my own time. I might finish it up because I felt like I was pretty close to the ending when I got through it. It seems like a pretty short game. It kind of is a green text copy pasta in game format. But really cool, you know, had some neat puzzle mechanics. And, you know, kind of cool in a gimmicky way. So let's hear it for that one. Pony Island, everybody. And I've only got 3 in this category. So my favorite story/setting out of all of these was, you might be surprised by it, if you've watched a lot of Game Roulettes. Oddworld. And this one specifically was Oddworld New and Tasty, which I think was just like a remake of the first Oddworld game, if I've heard right. Let's hear it for that one. Yeah. So, I don't know if it was necessarily one of my favorite games overall. It was fun in its own way, but I just really love, like, the look of this world. It's so, like, bleak and dismal. Oddworld was tastier than the food-making game. I mean, it has a dedicated fart button. How can you go wrong? But yeah, really, like, very detailed world going on here, and really just nailed that disgusting, like, dystopian setting. So it did the best job at what it was setting out to do, I think. Let's hear it for those winners. I'm on the final category. Well, final category of winners, anyway, and then I'll be talking about the rest. Favorite Gimmick. This one, it doesn't have to be a favorite game by any means, but just a game that tried something really different, showed me something I had never seen before, and was captivating in a way that I had never really encountered in a game before. Two of these are going to be repeat mentions, and the first nominee is not one of those. So this one is Transistor. And, well, like I said, it's not necessarily going to be a game that I enjoyed the most in this category, but this one had a cool gameplay gimmick where you could kind of Zawardo freeze time and then line up a bunch of actions that your character is going to perform when time unfreezes, and then after you hit execute, you do all of those actions all at once in a row. It seemed like it could make for a lot of really interesting mechanics, but in the short time that I played it, the strategy ended up being, most of the time, just freeze time, walk behind enemy, mash the attack button repeatedly until enemy is dead. And, that worked. So, yeah. This was another Supergiant game, just like Pyre. But, yeah, it wasn't my favorite. I wasn't that compelled to play more of it. But if that gimmick sounds interesting to you, then you might like to give it a bigger try than I did. Let's hear it for that. Hear it for Transistor. The next one I just got done talking about. It's Pony Island once again. And this one, well, let's hear it for Pony Island first. Let's have another round of applause for this one. Short round of applause. That's good. This isn't necessarily something that I hadn't seen before. I mean, even in the Game Roulette streams, I had games like Macdos 95, which I think I even credited in the previous favorite gimmick category, where it's like you are navigating a fictional OS and just finding all of the different weird ways you can interact with it. But, even if it might have been a gimmick I had seen before, it's still an enjoyable way to structure a game, and it must be like really difficult to develop also, just to plan out how it's all going to work. But I think they deserve some credit for that. So let's give them some credit. And the winner in my favorite gimmick category this time around, it's a game I've already talked about. It's 3 out of 10. It's weird too because, like, for being a game where I've said repeatedly that, like, a lot of the humor doesn't really land for me, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I kind of have to give them credit for what they were going for. They did a good job designing these various mini games that you go throughout the game. Um, Even if I didn't think the characters were the funniest, they were still pretty well written. They were pretty distinct. I could appreciate what they were going for. 0 out of 10 Mactos is not here. It was in the last Game Roulette Awards show. Mactos 95 was already featured, and I'm pretty sure it got an award. So of course it's not featured in this one. This is only for the last 10 streams. I'll kill you. But anyway, yeah. I would love to see more games in this style, I think it's a bold move to try and blend, like an animated series with a video game. And, if the humor was more in my style, then I would have been all about this game. It would have been a 10 out of 10 instead of a 3 out of 10. Ha ha, oh. Isn't that great? Give it up for my joke. Alright, well, with that concludes the awards segment of this kind of retrospective. I'm probably going to turn this one into a YouTube video just like I did the first Game Roulette Awards. I'm going to edit that down. And, try to promote the streams with that. And so, if anybody's watching this on YouTube in the future, this is going to be the point where the video ends, and this is where I will say, make sure you follow me on Twitch. My Twitch name is listed in this video itself, and probably going to be in the description. And so, make sure you catch these streams, because you never know what you're going to get in a Game Roulette. They're always a lot of fun. The people who are staying after the show now will get to hear me go over all of the games I hadn't talked about yet, and maybe why I didn't talk about them. So if you want to see that, you can look at my stream archive and see all the rest of the games at some future date. So I hope you will follow all those links and do that. Let's hear it for following all those links and following me on Twitch. Let's give that a round of applause. Let's hear it for giving me money on Patreon. Yeah, let's hear it for giving me $1. Love giving me $1. You know what? Let's hear it for all of you. So this one is the really deserves some kind of award. Prevented me from experiencing a lot of the game. Here's exactly the part I'm talking about. I had to drive that little remote-controlled car through there, and just, for whatever reason, if VSync is on, which it is by default. When I was compiling the clips for the Game Roulettes, and just now when I had to, pull it up for discussion, I was like, what the hell was Micron? I completely forgot that I played this game. I forgot that it existed. I have to see the footage every time to be reminded, oh yeah, it was that one where you,